In this unit, we will be looking at the sustainability of ecosystems. Life exists almost everywhere on Earth, and all life and everything that is needed to maintain it exists in a thin layer of land, sea, and air. To fully understand the world of living things, scientists look at how living things interact. This is the study of ecology, and it's what we will be looking at next. Ecology can be defined as how organisms interact, both with each other and their environment. The study of ecology can be divided into several levels, from microscopic to macroscopic. The first level is a level of studying the individual. So this would be looking at just one organism and its habitat. So looking at the unique organism alone and how it survives in its habitat. The second level is called the population. And this is looking at organisms of the same species interacting and sharing their habitat. So for example, in West Vancouver, you may have a dog, and in all of West Vancouver, there will be a population of dogs. The next level up from this is studying how different populations in an area interact, and this is called a community. All of the dogs and raccoons and bears in West Vancouver make up the community. Putting together the community and the physical environment is the ecosystem. And the biggest level, the total area of Earth where living things are found, is called the biosphere. And the biosphere includes soil, atmosphere, and oceans. Everywhere that living things are found. I'd like you to pause the video right now, and on your handout, it's not going down, give an example of the following levels of organization in West Vancouver. Okay, we're going to go over your answers in class, so now we'll just move on to biotic and abiotic factors. Bio means living. Biology is the study of life. So a biotic factor are the living components of an ecosystem. Everything that is alive. Abiotic factors are the non-living components of an ecosystem. So biotic factors, these are examples, any kind of plant, animal, etc. Non-living things, things like temperature and the amount of precipitation. So I'll put rain, presence of water, if there was sand or dirt, different acidity of the sand or dirt, and so on. I'd like you to take a moment now and examine this ecosystem here in this image, and pause the video while you do this and try and list all the abiotic and all the biotic factors that you can see. Okay, we'll create a short list here. You probably came up with more, but abiotic factors would be things like the sunlight, the temperature, there's a lake or a pond here, so the water. See some grass here, so underneath that there must be soil. And so on. These are all of the things that influence the ecosystem, but they're not living. Biotic factors, there's quite a few here, all the different plants and animals. So we see here some ladybugs. You can see a deer, turtle, fish, lots of animals. I'm not going to list them all. Raccoon, frog, dragonfly, all the different plants as well. So we see some ferns, some grass, trees are a really big one, and so on. So biotic factors would be all of the living things. One thing that's really important to realize is that biotic factors and abiotic factors are interconnected. Nothing exists in isolation. So for example, if we were looking at a forest, and we took just the example of one biotic thing, so a tree, something living, in a woodland is a producer. So a producer is something that takes in sunlight, takes in energy in the form of sunlight, and changes it into a form of energy that other living things can use. So we call that a producer. All plants are producer. So a tree in a woodland is a producer, providing the basic unit of energy for the rest of the ecosystem. Everything else in the ecosystem depends on the producers. But at the same time, the tree is in competition, so it competes with other trees for sunlight. And it may be the host to parasitic plants. So there may be some types of fungi, for example, that live on it that are parasitic. I'd like you to pause the video right now and give another example of how abiotic and biotic factors are interconnected. Sometimes there is one factor that is the most critical in determining the types of organisms that can exist in an ecosystem. This is called the limiting factor because it limits what can exist there. To give an example of a local limiting factor, we can look at the Douglas fir. Douglas fir are trees that can only exist where there's a lot of rain. So Douglas fir only grow in regions of high annual rainfall. So the rainfall, the amount of precipitation, is the limiting factor. Oh, that shifted down when I moved my screen, so I'm just going to put an arrow back to where it was. We just need to fill in this one last part. We're going to be first looking at ecosystems that are in balance and then ecosystems that are out of balance. An ecosystem that is balanced is said to be in dynamic equilibrium. And dynamic means change. So this means that there's continuous change, but overall the system remains stable. Your task that's for homework is to come up with 3 high-quality questions based on today's notes. These questions can be something that you don't understand, something you want to know more about, or something that you're just curious.